This is the biggest story unfolding before their eyes.
Surrounded by friggin' UFOs.
Of a UFO battle in orbit around Earth.
I believe that's 0428.
When UFO abduction comes to mind, this is usually what you're thinking. But today we're going to delve into something a bit more real. No, not this. It's actually an abduction case from 19th of January 1988 from the Knowles family's abduction in Australia. That's right, Aussies. A bloody family from Australia got bloody abducted in the middle of a desert road in Australia. You heard that right. And yes, it did happen. And yes, there's evidence to back that. So the story goes, on the 19th of January that night in 1988, by the tiny outpost of Mundrabilla in the vast Nullarbor Desert, Faye Knowles and her 3 sons noticed a mysterious light emerging in the distance. Flooring the car in fear, the family later told police that a light beam yanked the car into the air before plunging it into the ground, disabling the tyres and filling the cabin with an eerie grey mist and a foul smell. One of the quotes are, "I felt like my brain was being sucked out," said the eldest son. Truckers at the next town attested that the family were all visibly shaken after this odd experience. Very strange, and the family never broke the story and kept to the same detail, much like a lot of first-hand witnesses that have experiences such as this.
Claims it's been confronted by a UFO while crossing the Nullarbor. Their stories being backed by other motorists, and the crew of 2 South Australian fishing boats have also reported being buzzed by a UFO. Faye Knowles and her 3 sons claim an orange blob picked their car up off the highway. They fled in terror into the scrub until the object disappeared.
For the Knowles family, it was to have been a routine drive across the Nullarbor. That all changed as the family approached the town of Mundrabilla on the air highway. They claim that's when they had their unexpected and terrifying encounter with the unknown.
The car was shaking. I went down the window and I said it's on top of the roof. And all this, I don't know what it was, it all come inside the car like smoke. We thought we were all dead.
And I went down my window and Mum said there's something on the roof. And I said, no, come off it, you know, you've got to be joking. And she went down her window and she put her hand on the roof and she goes, my God. She goes, what is it? And no, I swear to God, I'm not lying. I swear to God, I opened up my window and the car started going out of control. And all this smoke, and it was like smoke. I'm not lying. It was like smoke. And gases all started coming in the car. And me and my brother started to go crazy, you know. I thought I was going in my head. Felt like my brain was getting sucked out.
Another motorist and a truck driver also witnessed the incident. They confirm the Knowles family story. Police are investigating the claim. They say the car did have dents on the roof and an ash substance inside. Late today, the Knowles family returned to the scene of their experience for the last time.
And you won't travel that stretch of road again?
No way. You've got to be joking.
You don't even wish to travel in your own car?
No.
Rod Stephen, 7 News.
Had you believed in UFOs before this?
Never. No.
Were you at all tempted not to tell the police because people may take the mickey out of you?
We weren't going to go, but we made up our mind to go, you know, because it might happen to someone else.
Of course the news reporter had to put in a little bit of ridicule to start off the interview. Classic. I wonder if someone made a ridiculous story saying they seen Jesus in a cloud. Would it get the same amount of ridicule that this subject does? That's a definite no, for something completely inconceivable and impossible. And you can definitely thank J. Allen Hynek for that, who was the director of Project Blue Book. He was the head of putting an operation put in place to use the same tools of religion that influenced young people and the masses to follow their agenda. The influence and ridicule on this subject is a real thing, and it's been orchestrated by such figures. It's been put through systems such as schools, universities, into the workplace, and especially into the mainstream media and movies. I'm talking about ridicule. Ridicule of this subject started when Project Blue Book started a large-scale anti-disclosure campaign. From the emotion of the victims, and I don't talk about the victims from the abduction, but the victims from the ridicule of what happened to them by human beings, the case did gain some media coverage, but like usual it was met with plenty of ridicule and it wasn't properly investigated because at the time they didn't have the technology to investigate this sort of thing properly anyway. I guarantee there would have been some interest from certain departments, if you know who I'm talking about. The Knowles family abduction did happen here in Australia, right in our backyard, and it's not the only UFO abduction or encounter of the third kind that has happened. By the emotion of the victims and the consistency of their story, I believe this actually did happen, and it is very similar to a lot of cases that happened over in America and in Brazil. So here's the recount from the event from some of the victims. Notice the consistency and the emotion in them telling what happened to them, like any victim in this sort of case.
It was chasing us, and all of a sudden it landed on our car, pulled our car back, and I put my hand out the window, and I fell on the roof.
What did you feel?
It was like a sponge on the roof. It was sucking the roof, the car. It was a sponge. I saw it.
How big was it? What did it look like?
I don't really know. I can't really explain.
Did you see anything but a light?
Not really. It was I
can explain it. It was shaped like this. Hang on. It was shaped like this. Had like a little circle in the centre, and that was like a yellow sort of colour, and it had on the outsides it was sort of shaped like that, and on the outsides it was like that, and in the centre it was like that. And I asked my brother, if that was a spaceship, and he goes, "Don't be stupid." So I got up closer to have a look, and it was moving backwards and forwards. And so we decided to take off to have a look. We decided to take off, and it was flying miles back, and I drove miles up the road again, and it was in front of us again.
How high off the ground was it?
It was on the ground.
I mean, it was on the ground.
It was on the ground, facing us when we were driving along.
And then, so it was moving along with you?
Yeah, it was following us.
And then eventually you tried to get away from it. Is that right?
It's still chasing us.
Sean, you were driving. How fast did you get up to?
I got up to about 200 kilometres.
That's very fast. Have you driven that fast before?
No, I haven't.
And the car is capable of doing 200 kilometres an hour?
Yeah.
And at what stage did the object land on your roof?
Oh.
How fast were you going at the time?
I was doing about 200. I got a blowout, and once the car stopped, I blinked out, and I don't know what happened after that.
It was definitely on the roof.
How do we know you're telling the truth?
Oh, there was even witnesses.
But a lot of people think that you are making it up. Do you realise that?
That's not true. No way.
When it landed on the car, what happened?
We were screaming and yelling.
And as soon as it landed on the car, that's when my tyre blew out.
Smoke started coming in the car.
Smoke started to come in the car.
Probably like onions.
And that's when I just blanked out.
You can see the shock in when he's trying to explain what happened in this confusing event that doesn't make any sense, as you would be if something so extraterrestrial happened to you. You can also see them getting a bit narky with the reporter because he's being negative and he's trying to ridicule them in a sly way. What are your thoughts? Is it legit? Why would a family that made no money off this make up such an elaborate story and stick to it for the rest of their life? Much like a lot of other UFO cases that also have physical evidence following it. All of yous also make sure to follow my Instagram AussieUFOnews, and follow my other YouTube channel, GTA Stories.